Herzlich willkommen zurück aus der Pause. Ich möchte euch die nächsten 2 Stunden einladen auf eine breite Reise von Investitionen bis Technologie. Ohne Investitionen kein Wachstum, ohne Wachstum keine Zukunft. Wurden Investitionen früher als Kostencenter gesehen, sind sie heutzutage letztendlich Enabler, um neue Geschäftsmodelle umzusetzen und neue Zielgruppen zu erschließen. Let us kick off this panel with a man who follows the money. He is founder of SportsTechX, a media platform and consultancy all about sports tech. He will present the recently published SportsTech VC Report. A warm welcome to Rohn, Malhotra. Happy to have you with us. Please come on stage.
Thanks, Florian. Appreciate it. Right, mic check. Are we good? Perfect. Thank you for the invitation, Florian, and glad to join you. Over the next 15 minutes or so that I have, I will walk you through this report that we published. It is our SportsTech VC Report. My name is Rohn Malhotra. I represent SportsTechX, is the company that I founded about 6 years ago in Berlin, which is where I'm coming from. Our job is to know what is the latest, coolest, hottest tech in sports, where these solutions are coming from, who the investors are behind these solutions, who their early adopters are from a client perspective, and how this trends across the globe. Now, I know I'm one of the few, if not the only session in English right now, so I hope that's not too much of a problem, but Entschuldigung, mein Deutsch ist nicht so gut. Moving forward with the presentation itself from the report. This is a report that we've been publishing for the last 6 years. This is the 6th edition. And in this report, we summarize, as Florian said, we follow the money, where investment in sports technology really takes place. And why we follow this money is because there is so much more investment happening in sports. Whether you're a private institutional investor, VC or PE money, which is flowing in, whether you're a new Saudi or Gulf state, which has now woken up to sports and the possibilities that it unlocks, whether you are a big tech company, Amazon, Apple, Google, Netflix, these guys were not investing in sports 3-5 years ago, now they all are in a big way, or whether you're an athlete yourself. Today, athletes get paid more than they ever have before, and a lot of that money will go into what they know best, which is sports. Yeah, so we follow the money that comes into sports and therefore sports technology. From our perspective, almost $10 billion. This whole presentation is in dollars. We try to keep it as international. I'm sorry, we can't convert to euros every time. But the whole sports tech landscape saw about $10 billion worth of investment in 2024. This was split between about $3 billion in new equity and about $6.7 billion in M&A activity, a trend that has been on the rise in the last couple of years. 9 new unicorns in sports tech, 35 in total. This number was 32 last year. 9 new ones, 6 dropped out. So a lot of churn in this market as well. And a lot of that money focused on fan solutions. 65% of it went there. These are some of the highlights. I'll walk you through the numbers. Now, each slide will have a lot of, let's say, numbers, charts, etc. You're free to download the report. It is available for free. I shared the link before. Go to sportstechx.com. You can get the resource. So instead of looking for the numbers, I'd ask you to follow my voice and follow the main trends. On this slide, you can see the 2021 pillar, which is quite tall, where the green bar, which represents equity funding, is really tall. And the gray bar next to it represents the M&A funding or M&A activity in that year. Now, 2021 saw a lot of equity-based investment in sports technology. That was mirrored in 2023, where a lot of that money suddenly went into M&A activity rather than equity. Why? If you've been following the VC landscape, not just in sports, you will know that money has dried up. Capital is not so hot or available in the ecosystem like it was in 21 and 22, when valuations are flying, founders are raising money in high multiples. But since it's dried up, a lot of that money, that market has to consolidate, which has led to increase in M&A activity, which is what you see in 2024. Half of the money in 2020 from a deal flow perspective came only in Q3. From Jan to June, I didn't know what report we would write. There was hardly any activity in the market. But just in the last 3 months, and also, well, in Q3, I should say, from July to September, and then following October and November, we have seen a pickup, an increase, an uptake in activity in the sports tech investment landscape. And a lot of that money has flown into fan-facing technology. This is where the investors are speaking and putting their dollars in. Now, from a geographical perspective, where does this money flow? Across the last 5 years, about half of the investment goes into the American economy. It is by far the most developed sports and therefore sports tech economy. With 5 major leagues, a very well developed collegiate sports space, it accounts for a lot of the money. $16 billion over the last 5 years, and even last year, over $1.2 billion. Within Europe, it is UK and Germany that lead the way. UK, Germany, France are essentially the primary leaders in sports technology investment in Europe, have been for the last 5 years, and certainly continued into 2024. Out of that, France accounts for, maybe there's just 1 or 2 companies of note there, so the thriving economies are certainly UK and Germany. Now, from a sector perspective, I walked you through the geography. I want to tell you where we get that 65% from. At SportsTechX, we divide the entire sports technology landscape in 3 buckets. Solutions for athletes, anything that helps an athlete perform better at their sport. Solutions for fans, anything that helps a fan engage with their sport better. And solutions for executives, such as people like you and myself within the industry who work in sports and want to deliver better sports experience, either from a stadium, venue, broadcasting, meet sponsorship, whichever perspective. Now, over these 3 buckets, we further divide into sectors, subsectors, and sub-subsectors. We really drill it down. What this chart represents is exactly that. The 3 subsectors, for athletes in purple, for fans in blue, and for executives in green, and the subsectors within, below them. Again, I won't go into too many details for the paucity of time. But you can see over the last 5 years, 35% of all investment in sports technology was focused on the athlete, 52% on the fans, and about 12% on the executive. This changes quite drastically by geography. For example, in the US, this split is about 40-50-10, similar to what you see here. In Europe, it's about 40-40-20. Solutions for executives, the B2B market is a bit more mature. In Asia, or the APAC region, it swings wildly. About 70% of all investment goes into solutions for fans, only about 25% for athletes, and very small numbers for executives. Why? Because the B2B sports market are not as mature in those markets. So that's the last 5-year trend. You see this shift in 2024. 65% of investment follows the fan across those 3 geographies, 3 primary geographies, about 25% on athletes. Interesting thing is the share for executives does not change, and this is part of a wider trend of the B2B market in sports developing further. These are some of the companies. On the right are the all-time champions in sports tech. On the left are the big winners in 2024. Some names that you'll be familiar with, and some names that you might not be. DoYu and Huya, esports and gaming streaming platforms in China, Dream11, a mammoth fantasy, daily fantasy sports provider in India with about 140 million active users, the last time I heard. SoRare, Keep, DraftKings, different themes, fitness, fantasy, betting, content are all covered in the all-time list. In the 2024 list, a lot of that focus is on the fan. Infinite Reality, Cosm work in immersive experiences for the fan. TickPick is about ticketing. eGym, B2B side of fitness right here. In Munich and Minute Media, another content creator. And more you've seen on the fan topic. A summary of the M&A activity. Again, apologies if it's not so legible on this slide, but a lot of M&A activity is fueled by betting, by fantasy sports. You'll see the top 10 deals and also on the notable deals in 2024. Again, all of this is available for free to go through in our report, which you can download from our website. The unicorns map again, the names are not as important, but I want you to see the geographic concentration. The vast majority of these 35 are towards the right in the US, but that does not mean there aren't in other parts of the world. You see names in Europe, even in Brazil, in Asia. This sports tech global map of unicorns is growing, and it changes every year as the investment landscape changes every year. 3 key trends I want to highlight. Number one, I mentioned it at the top. There is more money flowing into sports tech because there's more money flowing into sports. And the appetite for M&A deals in sports is skyrocketing. About 46 billion last year. This year, in a down market, still 37 billion in deal flow. Team values, appreciations are still going at a very high rate. You're seeing this trend across the media landscape, across European and in American sports. Consolidations like TKO, the WWE, and UFC combined last year for a $21 billion merger, the biggest in sports. Now, whether you consider wrestling as entertainment or sport, the industry certainly considers it as part of what we consider sports. 65% solutions on fans, as I mentioned before. The switch is what I'd like you to see about the drop in investment in activity and performance, almost a 60% drop from last year, and a 40% uptick in fans. And the last one I want to talk about is the athletes themselves. As their pockets get deeper and their contracts get bigger, they are investing in sports, the topic that they know best. We've seen this trend of athletes as investors for a while now, but you're also seeing a shift towards athletes as founders, where they want to take complete ownership, or at least part ownership, where they're working with a partner of the product, of the company that they are putting out. I'll end pretty quickly with the investor ecosystem. You see a lot more, again, a lot of names on this slide, on the next couple of slides, but I want to essentially look at this summary. This is the American landscape, and the top half of this page is the American landscape alone. I could have added at least 2 more pages with sports-focused investors in North America, USA and Canada. That bottom row is all we see in Asia. And Europe, about half a page, a little more worth of investors. And the biggest challenge is that there might be a few, but these are all early-stage investments. You have very few large funds which actually help a company scale from Series B to seed and so on. And a couple in Oceania and South America as well. Quite a few leading innovators and innovation initiatives and accelerator programs across the globe that you can see in our report, which you can download from right there. Thank you. Is that okay on time, Florian?
Perfect. Join me for. Please stay with me.
Sorry.
Quick follow-up. I remember we had an all-time high in 2021, correct?
Yep.
When do we expect us to be back at that level?
We all hope it'll be soon, Florian. I believe a lot of people in this room and us as well. Look, we're seeing a lot of macro trends which indicate that things are picking up. As I said, Q3 was really strong coming out of 2024, so we hope that momentum will carry into the new year. Will it actually be 25? Will it be 26 even? Nobody can tell for sure, but at least the macro trends of investment in sports, the appetite for sports across different capital bases is increasing, so therefore money should flow into the ecosystem again.
You are the expert. I have to ask you, what will be the next hot shit game changer after AI? Because everybody's talking about AI. What comes after it? Well, AI is a horizontal. It's a tech enabler. I wouldn't call AI is not one thing. It can aid any industry, any segment. The couple of things that we talk about, it also changes by market. Media production or automated media production. As the media landscape shifts so wildly and so drastically across sports in the US, across Europe, whether you're D2C, whether you're an incumbent, whether you're a new tech company that is trying to figure out how you're going to reach fans, any technology that helps you disrupt this a bit and opens up revenue streams, opens up interactive layers, I think it will be a big changer, and AI will play a huge role in that. Tech-enabled youth sports is another one, depending on which part of the world you're in, especially in the Asian markets, South American markets. If you can get data about what the youth are doing and get them into the system and get them tracking early, I think that plays a big role in how they perceive sports and sports technology going forward. We say thank you, much appreciated. Please give him a warm hand. Cheers.